after the attack, I think there is no normal politician that would have done anything different than the current government. It's not. There was no other realistic alternative, right? It was a huge barbaric attack. Uh, you couldn't do anything else than just try to get the hostages back and eliminate the attacking army. Any politician in any country in the world would have done the same. And they did it in a way that it was the most, it's almost unbelievable to watch the news because it was the most humane way of doing it in the history of mankind. And that's a mathematical fact because you can, gas is very small, very uh, compact. So it can only be compared with urban wars, not just normal wars, urban wars.
Yeah.
And it should even, inside the urban wars, it should be even compared with, there is no comparison because no army does what Hamas did, which is it should be compared with situations in which the army intentionally puts the civilians in front of them. No army in the world does that, not even the Russians,
Yeah.
not even Iran. So just to give two extreme examples of some of the worst that we have in the world today. Uh, so if you look at all the modern warfare, you'll have ratios of civilians killed and militaries killed. The worldwide ratio is more or less 9 civilians per each soldier, more or less 9 to 1. The Allied forces in Mosul fighting against the Islamic State made much better. They were able to have only 2 to 3 civilians killed per each ISIS terrorist. And Israel managed to lower that record, let's say, even more, to just 1 to 1 if you believe in Hamas numbers of the total dead people, and then you use the Israel numbers of terrorists killed. So if you put the two together, it's more or less 1 to 1. 1 to 1, it's probably less because Hamas is always lying, right? But 1 to 1 would be already 2 to 3 times better than one of the least casualties in intense urban warfares in recent history, which would be the Allied forces in Mosul. So, uh, so mathematically, it's impossible to do better, more or less. It's actually, people are saying that Israel set a new standard that the next wars will be measured against. And then there are all other issues, like, for instance, food. The amount of food that gets in Gaza every day is not open to debate, is measured. You know what's inside the trucks, you know
Yeah.
what are the trucks, the number plates, how many kilos are there, and it's more or less 3,000 calories per Gaza inhabitant per day. It's more than many countries at peace in the world have for their population. If it doesn't reach everyone, you know, in the last mile, it's not because of the ones that are letting them in, which is Israel. It's because of the ones that are distributing, which is Hamas, right? So just two simple metrics that are very easy to confirm. So Israel is doing the best it could, at the same time fighting a ruthless enemy that puts their own civilians at risk on purpose. It's unbelievable. So and it's fighting also Hezbollah in the north.
Yeah.
You know, this Hezbollah in Syria, the Houthis from
Houthis.
Yemen, Iran, uh, everything at the same time. It's a mess. It's very difficult situation. But I think the saddest. So one problem is that no one seems to care about the numbers or anything. There are terrible, wars going on throughout the world, and no one protests about them. I don't see in London, Paris, Berlin, or Lisbon anyone doing anything about the terrible wars with much more number of dead people, innocent people. No one cares. They say no Jews, no news.